What's up, Vikings fans? Welcome back to another edition of Viking Spin. I'm your host, Jason, and today we're going to talk about the Vikings coaching staff and what I call the Denver effect. I wrote an article called The Denver Effect and what Gary Kubiak and Rick Dennison's hirings are going to mean for the Vikings offense. I put that out on purpleptsd.com. I also shared it on Viking Spin Twitter and Viking Spin Facebook, and we're going to discuss that here today. Basically, some background on Gary Kubiak and Rick Dennison. If you didn't know, Gary Kubiak is a four-time Super Bowl winning coach. He's won one Super Bowl when he first started out in coaching with the 49ers as the quarterback's coach, and he also has won two Super Bowls as offensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos and one as the head coach of the Denver Broncos, most recently being in 2015. That one was with running backs Ronnie Hillman and C.J. Anderson, and also kind of a broken down Peyton Manning at that point, and half the season spent with Brock Osweiler at quarterback. So it was really impressive that Kubiak is able to win that Super Bowl. Throughout his career, he's done amazing things with unheralded running backs. Anyone from Arian Foster from his time with Houston to guys like in Denver like Ronnie Hillman and C.J. Anderson, Orlandis Gary, Reuben Drones, Terrell Davis. These were all unheralded running backs coming out of college that Kubiak turned into players that had the best years of their career, or they were 1,000-yard rushers, Pro Bowlers, you name it. With Terrell Davis, Hall of Fame. So, his impact offensively has been huge. And alongside of him the whole time has been Rick Dennison for 3 of those Super Bowls with the Broncos. Dennison becoming the offensive line coach here, I think is a great move. Him and Kubiak work very well together. And they've also had tight ends coach Brian Piriani, who's been with Kubiak as a longtime assistant as well through that Super Bowl run. So, these are some outstanding coaches for the Vikings to add. That's no surprise that Mike Zimmer wanted to get these guys on board. We know that Zimmer likes having former head coaches on the offensive side of the ball. Worked very well. When the Vikings had Pat Shurmur in that role in 2017. And these guys align more philosophically with what Zimmer wants to do. Last year with John DeFilippo not really wanting to run the ball. He had Kirk Cousins not playing to his strengths. He had him dropping back 45 times a game, and mostly in the shotgun when, Cousins really excels at play action and when he's under center, as opposed to being in the shotgun and just chucking it 45 times a game. That's not really the way to sustain success over a 16-game season. So, and lastly, Kevin Stefanski, it's good to note that he's really good friends with Clint Kubiak, Gary's son, who is now the quarterback's coach for the Vikings. Clint Kubiak, was an assistant coach with the Vikings back in 2013. And him and Stefanski have maintained a strong relationship ever since then. Stefanski is said to have urged the hirings of Kubiak and Dennison, per Ben Gessling of the Star Tribune. So this is not a case of where there's going to be animosity and, too many cooks in the kitchen. I think this is a collaboration that everyone is on board with. And it's a good philosophical collaboration, if you ask me, in terms of what the Vikings want to do offensively and what plays to the team's strengths. You have, this is the zone run blocking scheme, so you have some players on the Vikings roster that this can suit, like Pat Elflein, especially if he can get healthy. I think he was hindered last season by, trying to come back from 2 surgeries. But I think if he's healthy, he'll be a good fit in it. His athleticism and ability to get out to the second level will be good. Same thing with Nick Easton. They might try to re-sign him. see if he's healthy. You know, he's another good fit for it. I think Brian O'Neill and Riley Reef would do well in it as well. And it's probably going to affect how the Vikings draft and use free agency this offseason. I mentioned Matt Paratus as a free agent possibility here for the Vikings that Kubiak and Dennison might decide to bring in. You know, in Denver, there's been some coaching changes, and Paratus is now a free agent. He might want to come where his coaches are here over with the Vikings and run that zone run blocking scheme that's helped him grade, you know, consistently as a top 5 center the last several years, according to PFF. So I think Paratus would be a really nice addition. It would probably affect, you know, who the Vikings draft, you know, in terms of offensive linemen as well, looking for somebody that fits the zone run blocking scheme. So, you know, those are definitely the ways that that they can affect the offensive philosophy. You know, in terms of what the Vikings are going to want to do. You know, schematically, and you know, just finding personnel that's going to fit that scheme. You know, and you know, you gotta like the Super Bowl pedigree with these guys. You know, they've been in the battles before. They know how to win. You know, they know what it takes to win. And I think an underrated aspect of Gary Kubiak's hiring is it's not just going to be you know, about him on the offensive side of the ball in terms of, you know, helping Stefanski draw up, you know, the offensive playbook, but also he's the assistant head coach of the whole team, so he's going to be able to help Mike Zimmer with game management, so like clock management, challenges, and things like that. You know, with Zimmer so focused on defensive game planning and adjustments, it's going to be nice to have that veteran head coach on your staff as an assistant to help you out with that. Stefanski's going to be able to go to him, obviously, to make any halftime adjustments or you know, to get advice on play calling. So all in all, I think this is going to be turn out to be a great hire for the Vikings. I encourage you to go to purpleptsd.com to check out my article, The Denver Effect. It gets a little bit more in depth with this. But I thank you guys for tuning in here to another edition of Viking Spin. Don't forget to check me out on Twitter, Facebook, and encourage others to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we'll see you next time. Take care.